we are already probably locked into at least 1.5 degrees of global warming. The Paris Climate Agreement is seeking to try and keep global warming limited to 2 degrees, but there's a very real chance that that won't succeed. Now, I want you to try and understand what the difference between 1.5 and 2 degrees of global warming is. And in practical terms, it means this. It means the lives of 2 billion people. Not million, 2 billion people. And as things get hotter, because we don't actually know how hot they're going to get, the situation gets worse. We realistically face a situation where temperatures could go high enough that the areas between 45 degrees latitude north and 45 degrees latitude south could become uninhabitable. Now again, to try and put that into some kind of perspective to help you understand what that really means, that is the whole of Africa, the whole of the continent of Africa. It's the whole of the Middle East. It's the whole of Asia. It's most of North and South America. And it's also parts of Southern Europe. It's an unimaginably large area covering billions of people. And as those people's water supplies start to run out, and as those people's food begins to decrease as their crops fail, they will start to fight, and there will be war. And people in those areas will be forced to migrate to survive. So if we're in one of the more habitable areas, and that's a big question mark, because obviously depending on how hot it gets, there may not be any habitable areas left. But if there are some habitable areas left, those people also will face their resources diminishing. We're a country that relies on 60% of our food through imports. So as our own resources diminish, we will be faced with aggressive inward migration, and under those circumstances, society will not be able to continue. And I'm not talking about this happening in 100 years or 200 years' time. Some serious predictions are suggesting that societal breakdown could happen as early as 2050. Now you might say to me, Kate, this is the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse stuff. This is just so extreme. I just can't buy this. You know, I think this is rubbish. And I would say 2 things to you in response. The first thing I would say is go and find out for yourself. It's not difficult. There's loads of information out there. There's great lectures online, scientific papers, summaries of scientific papers, websites that discuss the whole range of views about global warming. And you can decide for yourself where you think that mainline truth lies. But the second thing I would say to you is this. Global warming is happening. And even if it's only half as bad as I've painted, or a third as bad as I've painted, or a quarter as bad as I've painted, we still face a global catastrophe on an unimaginable scale. As I said earlier, the difference between 1.5 and 2 degrees of global warming is 2 billion people. Isn't that enough? Now, as we view our colleagues here and students who are lying to represent the many countries and the populations of those countries who could die, I'd like us now to observe 2 minutes silence. And in that silence, I would like you to reflect on the people who've already died because of man-made global warming. They've died because of storms or floods or droughts, or they've been dispossessed because their land has been taken away by rising sea levels. I want you to reflect on those people, and I also want you to reflect on the people who will still die, even if we do something about this, even if we can solve the whole problem tomorrow. Because of what we've already done, people will still die. And at the end of that 2 minutes, my colleague Zolfi will then get up and he will explain to you ways in which you can begin to take positive action and join with our children who are calling for us to do something about this.